Hello and welcome back, everyone. Welcome to AWS User Group Pune's Security Week 2024. Today is the day 4 of the Security Week, and I hope everyone is enjoying the sessions. There were 3 sessions till now, and yesterday we saw the AWS Guard Duty that was very well explained by Shagun. And today we have day 4. We have Anjali with us for today's session. So before introducing her, I'll just introduce you guys with uh, the AWS Security Day or Security Week and what is AWS User Group Pune. So let me share my screen. Yeah. So AWS User Group Pune is a volunteer-driven a community that is supported by AWS, and we have around 11,000 plus members on LinkedIn, and we have a huge user base who is supporting us for various activities. We are conducting various meetups and community days for the various topics, and we have a variety of speakers who come with us and contribute for various meetups and communities as well. So for today, so for this particular security week, we have we got this idea for security week when we had done a DevSecOps day few months ago in January. It was a community day for around 350 plus attendees. That was in-person event done in Hinjewadi, Pune, and it was a very good event that was well received by the attendees, and many of the attendees could say that they could not make it to the event because of the uh, travel issues or because of the it was January, so it was start of January, so they could not make it due to the their availability as well. And we had very limited tickets for that. We had only 350 slots, so many people could not get the ticket in time. So we thought that we can go ahead and arrange something for the virtual something virtual for the people who could not attend it, and we planned for this particular security week with the various topics that are related to the AWS services that can be implemented in order to secure your uh, security posture for your products and AWS workloads. Okay, so let's go into why we're doing this security. What will be the benefits that people will get, and what are the objectives behind this particular security week? So, with this particular security week, we are going to enhance the AWS and cloud security knowledge, and this will be for all the skill levels. It is not for particular intermediate or any kind of particular people with the particular skill levels. Then, in these particular sessions, as you have seen in earlier 3 sessions, you will get to know about the latest threats and the issues that you are facing with your security posture and how you can improve your security posture as well. And you'll get the valuable insights about all the services. We saw AWS Guard Duty, we saw AWS Security, we saw AWS Amazon Inspector, and we could understand the in-depth knowledge, and we saw the demo of the that particular services with how we can configure the services for AWS. Then at last we get a chance. Everyone gets a chance to network with the speakers. You can connect them with the link with them on the LinkedIn from our social media handles, and you can post your questions and queries in the comments. And AWS user group leaders and speakers will be glad to answer your questions as well. So if you are AWS security enthusiast, or if you have just started exploring the cloud security, this is very good platform for you to learn the things and get started with the security concepts in order to improve your security posture for your organization or for your products. Okay. So let's see the overview of the things that we have done until now in this security week. For the day one, we had Kirti with us, who helped us with understanding the complex concepts around the AWS Security Hub and how we can integrate Security Hub with rest of the AWS services. Then for the day two, we had Samiksha, who helped us with the Amazon Inspector and how we can find out the vulnerabilities and how that can be how we can monitor those vulnerabilities. Yesterday, for the day three, we had Shagun with us, who gave very nice presentation about Amazon Guide along with the explaining demo that helped us to understand many of the concepts on the in hands-on way with his in-depth demo as well. For today, we have Anjali Sharma, a technical account manager with AWS, and she's going to explain and she's going to present us with the Amazon Detective, and she's going to show a demo with Amazon Detective and Macie, that are the two services, major services from AWS. And from for day 5 tomorrow, I'll be sharing with you my thoughts about AWS Web Application Firewall and AWS Shield. Those are the two services that are used for the protecting your resources that are on the edge. Okay, so without delaying much, I'll share details about today's session. Today, as I told you, we have Anjali Sharma with you. I would like to welcome Anjali on the stage. Let me share her screen. That's her video. So we have Anjali with us. She's a technical account manager with wide experience in AWS security, and she's going to speak about Amazon Detective and Macie, and how we can investigate potential security issues and discover the sensitive data at scale for AWS workload. So, over to you, Anjali. Welcome to the team and welcome to the AWS user with Pune.
Thanks, Vishal. So I'll share my screen. Please confirm if my screen is visible.
Yeah, your screen is visible now.
Great. Thank you, Vishal. So, hello everyone. My name is Anjali, and I have been working with AWS for more than 4 years now. So, today we will learn about Amazon Detective that helps in investigating potential security issues. So, Amazon Detective is an AWS service that makes it easier to analyze, investigate, and quickly identify the root cause of security findings or suspicious activities. With Amazon Detective, we get automatic log collection from the resources, and it also uses machine learning, statistical analysis, and graph theory to help you visualize and conduct faster and more efficient security investigation. So let's look into our today's agenda. So in today's agenda, we will cover some security investigation challenges, Amazon Detect overview, some details around pricing, and getting started along with investigating few findings. So I'll move to the next slide that talks about security investigation challenges. So, security investigations can be challenging for many reasons, and a common struggle many customers tell us is that they have is managing the volume of security alerts. They sometimes refer to this as a alert fatigue, and security incidents can often be complex and involve multiple systems, networks, and processes. And analyzing the cause of an AWS security incident may require a thorough understanding of all impacted resources, be it your EC2 instances, S3 buckets, your IAM roles, and how they all interact with each other is also very crucial. And the second major challenge that we face is that many security investigations require professionals with advanced skills and intimate knowledge of the architecture and applications. Also, we know that thorough security investigations can be costly. Gathering and correlating data is a crucial part of root cause analysis, and this can involve reviewing multiple data sources like CloudTrail logs, VPC flow logs, and examining contextual data like time of the day, like when the security incident happened, the connected IP addresses, region location, and reviewing events that go back in weeks and months. So storing that data also and having fast access when needed can also be costly, and customers may not need all the data every time whenever a security incident happens. So these are the major challenges. So with that, we have a service, Amazon Detective, that can help you in overcoming these challenges. So I'll next move to what Amazon Detective is as an overall service. So this is where the detective can help. Detective automatically collects log data and events from sources like CloudTrail logs, your VPC flow logs, guard duty findings, and your security hub findings as well. Whatever services are integrated, and you can also audit your Amazon EKS, Amazon Elastic Kubernetes audit logs as well. And detective maintains up to a year of aggregated data for analysis and investigation. And as I mentioned earlier, it uses machine learning to create a behavioral graph for all these data sources that help customers see how security issues have evolved in their environment and what AWS resources might be potentially compromised. And the major advantage of detective I can explain is that it can be integrated with guard duty, security hub, and technology partner products such as IBM QRadar, RSA NetWitness, and Splunk. You can directly launch detective from these integrated services and partner products to start investigating findings with the time based activity and context related to the security findings. And to get started with detective, it is just a few clicks in the AWS console. There is no software to deploy or data sources to enable and maintain. So in my demonstration, I'll show you how easy it is to work with Amazon Detective. So, with that, I'll move to the next slide that talks about how Detective works in detail. So, once the Amazon Detective is enabled in your AWS account, it automatically starts collecting data from the different sources supported. So, there are different AWS security services. If I say about data sources, so I'll talk about different AWS security services and their findings in my next slide. And with that, customer don't have to do anything for this data collection to start. Detective takes care of collecting data and then to start correlate possible security events based on the graph theory. And detective automatically extract time based events such as logging attempts, API calls, and network traffic from AWS CloudTrail and Amazon VPC flow logs. It also ingests findings detected by guard duty and other security services through security hub. So, for all those events, Detective uses ML and visualization to create a unified view, and you get an interactive view for your resource behavior and interaction between them over time. So, you will get a unified view, and I'll talk about all those behavior graph and unified view in my upcoming slides. So, with Detective, you don't have to organize any data or develop, configure, or tune your own queries or algorithms. So, there is no need of doing all that, and there are no upfront cost as well. And you pay only for the events that you have analyzed with no additional software to deploy or any features to subscribe to. So, this is how Amazon Detective can help in overcoming the security challenges that we face during the investigation of security events. So, with that, I'll move to the next slide where we will talk about more in detail about AWS security findings. So, as you can see on the screen, AWS security. So, we have multiple services like CloudTrail logs for API logging, VPC flow logs, security hub, inspector, access analyzer. So, Detective has data sources from all these services, and we call it data source because they are nothing just a security finding. And if I specify what a security finding is, like it is a notification that contains detail about a potential security issue that the service has discovered. So if you're using AWS Security Hub, Inspector, Amazon Macie, IAM Access Analyzer, Detective can ingest and automatically build a security behavior graph around those findings. So in my very next slide, I'll talk about how the behavior graph looks like. And the overall summary, if I should say, is that if you are taking advantage of all these security services in AWS, you would like a service that looks across all the security findings that these services produce. And all you have to do is just enable detective, and behind the scenes we will start stitching together those security events. So this is the major advantage of security findings and integrating it with Amazon Detective. So with that, I'll move to next part, which is security behavior graph. So in Amazon Detective, you can conduct investigation using data from a detective behavior graph. So what this detective behavior graph is, it is nothing but a linked set of data generated from detective source data, and that has been ingested from one or more AWS accounts. So you can enable Amazon Detective in your organization as well, and can have integration between your linked accounts as well. And the behavior graph uses the data sources, and it generates a overall picture of your systems, users, and the interaction among them over time, offering a streamlined and a holistic view. As you can see that there are multiple components, and it is showing the actual relationship between those components as well. And like it perform more detailed analysis of specific activity to help you answer questions that arise as you conduct investigation. So these kind of relationships are very very important when we are analyzing any investigation, and that is very crucial at that moment. And these kind of capabilities help us to fasten our investigation, and correlate collections of findings, entities, and evidence that may be related to the same event or security issues, as I mentioned. So, with that, we'll move to what are the benefits out of detective. So, there are multiple benefits, as I mentioned earlier as well. So, first, the major benefit that you get is a unified view that makes it easier to identify patterns that may validate or refute to a security issue, and to understand all of the resources impacted by the security findings. And we also have one of the very great feature in Amazon Detective is the geolocation map. So with the geolocation map, user can view login attempts, drill down into relevant history activities, quickly determine a root cause, and if necessary take actions to resolve the further issues. So this is very very useful feature of Amazon Detective. And the graph model is pre-built, and with all the security related relationships and behavioral insights, and it is very easy for users to quickly validate, compare, and correlate the data to reach any conclusion while the investigation is going on. And Amazon Detectives visualizations are powered by the graph model, and it enables user to rapidly answer these investigations. So for example, the graph provide the context and relationship around when an IP address is connected to an EC2 instance, and then the API call that a role has issued in the specific time. So these kind of correlations, relations, and time based actions you can identify with the help of Amazon Detective on a unified window. So I'll take a pause, and then we'll move to the next slide. Yeah. So here we will understand the potential issues that can be identified with the unified view of users and resource interactions, as you can see on the screen. So we have two things here: groups and tactics. So groups are basically are involved entities, and all the findings are grouped together so that we understand the impact of a potential security event in a better way. And the tactics, so the groups, and it maps to the techniques and tactics and procedures from the MITRE, ATT, and CK framework. So we are following that framework for mapping those findings. And detective can analyze trillions of events from many separate data sources about IP traffic, AWS management operations, and malicious or unauthorized activity to construct a graph model. And with finding groups, you allow you to well, like finding groups allows you to basically view security related relationships and summarizes that enables you to quickly validate, compare, and correlate, so that you can get to some conclusion. So with that, I'll move to the next part, that talks about another advantage, that save time and effort with finding groups that summarize security relationships in AWS. So as you know, that uncovering the root cause of a security finding can be a complex task, and it requires your security operations centers analysts to collect a variety of logs, correlate information across logs, and determine the full scope of affected resources. And occasionally this type of in-depth analysis is needed because investigating individual security findings in isolation doesn't always capture the full impact of affected resources. So that is why we need a correlation of all the findings. So with detective, you can analyze and visualize various logs and relationships between AWS entities to streamline your investigation. So, for example, findings triggered by action taken by the same IAM role session or originating from the same IP address are very likely to be part of the same underlying activity. So, and then it becomes valuable to investigate findings and evidence as a group. So, we can group all those findings so that we get analysis better. So, as you can see on the screen as well, that it is the graph is showing the findings as high, medium, or informational, and also identifying the relationship that is associated with all these data points. So with that, I'll move to the next slide. So investigate and respond to security findings with streamlined visualizations. So using the visualization part, you can easily filter large set of events into specific timelines with all the details, context and guidance to help you quickly investigate. So with Amazon Detective, what it helps is it enables you to view login attempts on a geolocation map. So this is a very great feature, and it will help you in drill down into relevant historical activities, and you can quickly determine the root cause. And when the root cause is determined, you can take actions to resolve the issue. So it will definitely help you identifying the suspicious and anomalous events by baselining normal activities like API calls, the inbound and outbound volumes, all of that. And it also shows activity coming from newly observed locations or newly observed API calls, or any unusual activities that are there. So you can get all that information as well in with this geolocation feature. So I think I have talked enough about Amazon Detective and what are its feature sets and components. So let's take a look around the use case for Amazon Detective. So, Detective is used by many of our AWS customers for different security investigation use cases. But there are three that we commonly hear from our customers is that first, accelerating fine triage and avoiding unnecessary escalations. So, a good example that I can show you is that if brute force attacks are there, are successful or not, you can get all the information in a single pane on the guard duty findings, the IP address information, and this way and the API calls that have been made, and the VPC flow log, traffic volume during that time, what were the IAM users or roles associated. So this will help you in accelerating your findings and help you investigating the issue and resolving it faster. And the second advantage that we heard from our customers is that it is improving their context and correlating behavior. Like one guard duty finding may be an isolated incident, but when customer sees multiple guard duty findings around the same AWS resources, this typically means that they are related and due to a single security incident. So you can find out like if one resource has multiple guard duty findings, so in a single pane we can identify those kind of relations. And instead of combining through each and every guard duty finding, customers use detective to start their investigation because the correlation and context are already summarized. As I was explaining, they are already summarized and visualized in the Amazon Detective. that I want to explain is regarding simplifying of the data collection. So customers don't need to enable flow logs, CloudTrail logs, EKS audit logs, or configure a detective to read from S3 buckets. Detective does it automatically. So if all these services are already configured within your organization or within your linked account, you just need to enable detective and it will start automatically collecting the data, and detective will be doing all on your behalf, and you don't need to worry about rotating the data or make sure that the proper access controls are there for the data or not. So these are few of the major benefits of using detective. And overall it continuously strengthen your security posture, discover sensitive data for compliance. If I talk about it, protect sensitive data as well against exposure during migration to AWS. And with detective there is an increased visibility into where your most business critical data exists in Amazon S3. So detective is very useful. And as you can see on the screen, the three major benefits: triad security findings, investigate incidents, and track down threats. So with that, now I'll move to the next part, which talks about the pricing. So I'll just quickly give an overview, high level overview of pricing. So like there is a 30 days free trial for Amazon Detective, and you can enable it in your account to try and test the feature sets. And Detective is priced based on the volume of data that has been ingested from your core data sources. So it is like your the CloudTrail logs, your flow logs, and guard duty findings. And like if you are leveraging EKS cluster, so you can have an optional data source as EKS audit logs as well. So you can have findings and consolidated view for that as well. So if we get start with the Amazon Detective service, is that you just with few clicks in the AWS management console, you just enable the Amazon Detective. And as I mentioned earlier as well, there are no softwares to deploy, any there are no agents to install, or any complex configurations to maintain. There are no data sources to enable, which means you don't have to incur the cost of data source enablement, data transfer, or data storage. So it is just like one click you enable and you start getting the findings. And with that, I also wanted to share about the organization. Like Amazon Detective works with AWS organization as well. So using AWS organization, as you already know, that it allows you to ensure that your detective behavior graph provides visibility into the activity for all your organizational accounts. So if you enable it that way, you will get the visibility for the entire organization. And when you grant trusted access to detective, the detective service can react automatically to changes in the organization membership as well. So these are some of the use cases benefits about the Amazon Detective. So with that, now I'll move to the demonstration part of Amazon Detective, how the service works. So I'll stop sharing my screen for now.
Meanwhile, guys, if you have any questions, feel free to ask your questions in the chat window, and we'll take it in between the demo when we have some slots available, and or else we can take it at end of the session as well. So feel free to ask any questions related to the Amazon Detective or Amazon Macie as well. Thank you.
Great. So with that, I'll share my screen. Vishal, I need your help to just confirm if my screen is visible. Uh, yeah,
Not yet. Yeah, we can see now.
great. Thank you so much, Vishal. So with that, we will talk about Amazon Detective overview. So what you need to do is you just need to sign into your AWS console and search for service Amazon Detective. So this is how you are logged into the Amazon Detective console. So by default, you will be routed to the detective summary page that has four or five panels, as you can see on the screen. That like the investigation, so you can run investigations. Then we have finding groups. So finding groups allows you to analyze multiple activities in relation to a single security compromise event. Then on the dashboard, you can see roles and users with the most API call volume in the past 24 hours. Then if I scroll down, you can also see that there are EC2 instances with the most traffic volume in the past 24 hours. Then if there are any clusters also running, so you can get EKS cluster information as well, like which cluster in your environment have had the most clusters in the last 24 hours and how many findings are associated with those clusters. So and there is an export option as well, so you can export the findings as well. And this is the feature that I was talking to while explaining that this is the new feature of newly observed geolocation. So it lists the geolocations from which API calls originated during the previous 24 hours, and you can get all the details out of this feature. So I'll quickly move to the demonstration part, where what we are going to do is finding an alert and what all details we are getting in Amazon Detective. So with that, I'll show you one of the findings from Guard Duty. So let's first go to the Guard Duty console. So I believe, as Vishal just mentioned, yesterday we covered the Guard Duty session. So here you can find out the findings. So as part of the demo, let's pick up one finding. Let's say we have a finding cryptocurrency EC2 Bitcoin DNS. So on this is a high finding that the EC2 instance is querying a domain name that is associated with a Bitcoin related activity. So this is one of our guard duty finding. Now we will look into it, how we can investigate it with the help of Amazon Detective. So here you can see on the pane that you have all the details. And if I click here, investigate with Amazon Detective, please wait. I hope my screen is visible. So with that, what I have done is in my guard duty finding, I want to investigate it with the help of detective. So I have just clicked on this finding. So you can see here that you get all the details and all correlations here. The IP addresses, the EC2 instance ID that is associated with the finding, and like you can take actions, like if it is a legitimate activity that your EC2 instance is involved in doing some mining activities, then you can archive those findings. But if not, then we have documentations available on how to remediate guard duty findings. So you can maybe add a suppression rule or archive such kind of findings. So you can see here all the details and the correlation as well here, what all are the IP addresses, then what is the EC2 instance. And if you even click deep down, dive into it, you get the all the overviews, the findings associated with the resources, all the details and correlations are available. So let me take one more guard duty finding where I can explain the relation. So let me take one. This is another guard duty finding, that is Trojan EC2 DNS data exfiltration. So the why this finding has occurred, because the EC2 instance is attempting to query domain names that resembles exfiltrated data. So like this can be an indication that your EC2 instance is compromised. So in the guard duty, you can see all the details, the overview, the resource affected, instance details, the instance profile that is associated. But let's see how what kind of details we are getting with Amazon Detective. So I'll open this guard duty finding there. Yes. So here you can see that we have all the data that is associated with this finding or related to this finding, and all these details that were there are available here as well. And you can scope the time as well here from the chart, that you need a historical data of 24 hours, 3 days, 7 days, or up to 30 days. So you can scope that time as well. And if I open any of the finding, let's say see profile. So you see here the network interfaces, the IP involved is this IP address. So what we can see that what are the IP address details, when it was first observed, last observed, and then what all are the different findings associated with this resource. And you can see there are four other findings that are there related to port scan, related to Bitcoin. So from all these collaborated findings, we can have a judgment that potentially the EC2 instance might be compromised. So we can get all that detail, and then we can check the overall API call volume, like what were the successful calls, what were the failed calls, and then you can also get more details around it, resource level information as well, that what information are there available in terms of SSM agent, then flow log, VPC flow volume as well, you can find out from these details. And if I click on the EC2 instance, similarly, what are the inspector findings for these EC2 instance and guard duty findings? The VPC flow volume. So here you can identify the flow VPC flow logs, the inbound traffic and outbound traffic on the EC2 instance. So what are the ports associated, which traffic has been accepted or rejected. So we are getting all this data, and I can apply filters as well in terms of IP address, protocol, rejection or exception. So if I just click on reject, so I'm getting in a single pane that all these IPs have rejected the inbound communication. So as you can see on the screen, these are all the details in a single pane that we can get with guard duty. So with that, I'll move to another part, like how Security Hub works with Amazon Detective. So for that, what I'll do is I search for Security Hub. Yeah. So this is the console for Amazon Security Hub. I hope you have viewed the session delivered by Kirti on Security Hub. So if I just click on findings and I just search for product name. So make sure that this is case sensitive, Macie. So Macie is another AWS service that helps in finding the vulnerabilities for your S3 buckets. If there are any PII information stored in your S3 bucket, so Macie is that service that can help. So as you can see that there are two findings related to Macie. Block public access settings are disabled for the S3 bucket. So as you know, like there are companies and our organization policies that the S3 bucket should not be public as per best practices. So if you are seeing that block public access is enabled for all other buckets but not for this, then potentially there is some issue with this. So what we can do, we can just click on this service, this finding, sorry, and you can see that we have an option to investigate in Amazon Detective. So if I click here and investigate with Detective, yep, you can see which account it is associated, the details of the bucket, all these informations are there. So if I click this bucket, you can see that what all findings are associated. So there is a Macie finding, there is a security hub finding, all these are available. And you can see a lot other findings as well, like guard duty, security hub. So let me filter it out with finding type. No, not the finding type, the product. So let's filter it out with the product guard duty. So you can see on the screen that there were many API copy object was invoked. So all these are the guard duty findings, and those copy objects has come from an IP address on a custom threat list that is prepared in the guard duty console. So you can see all these copy objects APIs here, as well as if I click on this particular finding, which is Amazon S3 public access was disabled for this particular bucket. So you can see the details also here, uh, that what are the severity, the username, and then you can check on the actor as well, like which is the actor, from which IP address this has happened. So if you can just click on the IP address, you can again get the IP details as well, like what all actions have been happened from this IP address. So what are the successful calls, failed calls, VPC volume, and then if it was attached to an EC2 instance. So this way you can find out all the details in the single pane. And you can also see the new behavior, that if there are any newly observed API calls that were there. And the resource interaction summary gives, like, if there is any other interaction with any other resources. So here you can see it has a relation with this particular role. And if it is related to Kubernetes, your pods, you will get the details here. So this is about the summary page. And then if I talk about the account management, so as you can see here on the screen, because this is a demo account and no organization is set up, and I have done it only for the demo purpose. So you can see you can enable it for your organization, and you can get notifications, or basically all the detective findings for your linked accounts as well. And like, you have integrations available, but as I mentioned, this is a demo account. So you can specify all your managed policies, all your administrator account integration, all these settings can be configured here. And again, reiterating, you have a 30 days trial, and and you can start leveraging this detective in your AWS account. So these are the major information. And I wanted to I'll share you a few video links as well, that where you can find out the demonstration of how the graphs are created and how you can see the correlations with the graph. So That's the overall findings and the demonstration for Amazon Detective. So please let me know if you have any questions.
Yes, Anjali, we have a question. Let me type in that. Actually, from the LinkedIn, I'm not able to get the question directly, so I'm just trying to type in that.
Sure, no
So we have a
problem.
question. After the detective finds that instance is compromised, what are the uh, next steps for it? What are the next steps involved if we find that the instance is compromised?
Sure, very, very good question. So, as you know, that detective correlates all the findings. For the remediation action, you can reach mm, go to the details of that particular finding. If it is a guard duty finding, you can go to guard duty, and you can find out what are the remediation action plans. So, I can share for guard duty. Findings, so you can refer to AWS documentations, you can refer to knowledge center videos, what are the remediation action plans for different types of finding types and different types of compromise stage. So that is there available in the documentations and in the details as well. You get a hyperlink to recover remediations. So this is the link, if I can paste here. uh,
Yes, you can see the link in the chat window or on the screen as well.
Yes, so all the details of any findings are there in the documentation along with the remediation that can be done and from the console as well. Thanks.
Okay. We have another question from Sujit. Where can we see the unified graph? You are on mute. Yes.
I'm really sorry. Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, this is a demo account. So I was unable to prepare for the unified graph because of limitations in the findings. But there is another demo that is available on YouTube, and I can provide the link as well. Please wait. I'm just pasting. Yeah. So this talks about the graph that is available.
Okay.
And when we hover to Amazon detective page, in the findings groups itself, you will get the different findings and observe tactics. And if you just go through all those tactics, you will be able to find the graph. And this YouTube video clearly explains all those steps.
Okay, guys, I have shared the link on for the video for Amazon Detective Visualizations on LinkedIn as well as YouTube chat window. You can get it from there and look into that video. Mm, okay. So, Sujit, I hope this answers your question. We have next question from Preeti. Hello, Anjali. Are there any best practices for using AWS Detective that can be followed for efficient investigations? That's the question.
Great question, Preeti. Thank you for asking this. Yes, definitely, we have best practices that we should follow, because in detective, in the single pane, we are getting all the findings. So whenever there is a security finding, you should always, as a best practice, configure alarms in your internal environment, be it alarms with the help of email or any note and any other notification method. And once you receive the alarm, you can investigate let's say an example of a guard duty finding. You received an alarm for a suspicious activity or a malicious activity from the guard duty. You refer to that guard duty finding. From there, you investigate to the Amazon detective, and in the detective single pane, you can identify what are the various resources that are there, correlate, and first of all, if you feel that this is something malicious and it is not a false positive, then in that case, you should also, first step is like you should isolate your resources from the other environment, and follow all the documentations and best practices that are mentioned in our knowledge center articles and videos for security, and make sure that we continuously monitor AWS detective findings for the current API activities as well that are happening during any security incident and during the investigation.
Yeah. Mm, Let me see if you have any other questions. Yes, we have one more from YouTube, again from Preeti. Uh, Also, can detective be integrated with external security tools and services for broader security ecosystem?
Yes, it can be integrated. So we have integration available with Splunk and other third-party providers that you can refer to in the documentation, and overall you can get the simplified view in the detective console.
Yes, and I guess we can export the findings as well to JSON or any other formats and import them in the other security tools as well. Or you can leverage security hub findings and integrate those integrate other tools with the security hub, and it will provide you the consolidated view for your security data as well from there. Mm, We have one more question from Sujit. Enabling detective in main account or admin account, is that a best practice?
Enabling detective in main account or admin account, yeah, so you should enable the detective in wherever you are managing all the logs, and you can make it as a delegated administrator. So when you make it as a delegated administrator, all the findings will fall into your administrative account, and from there you can govern the findings. So as a best practice, we should, wherever we are storing all our security logs, we should leverage Amazon Detective in that account.
Yes. Okay, I guess we are done with the questions for detective. We can move to the next part. Sorry, Anjali. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's all from my side. If you have any
Okay.
questions, please let us know.
Let's see. We have good, very good questions today from the attendees. It was kind of from the core of the services, how that can be integrated, how that can be used with the other services as well. So I guess we don't have any further questions. So let me share my screen, and yeah. So thank you, Anjali. Let me take a moment to thank our today's speaker, Anjali Sharma, who is a technical account manager with AWS. She has covered many of the things that are related to the Amazon Detective and how that can be integrated with other services on AWS. The demo was very helpful to understand on the console how we can use the things and how we can, yeah, implement the filters, how we can see the vulnerabilities uh, on the dashboard as well on the console. So thank you everyone for joining AWS User Group Pune's day 4 of the security week. If you have any further questions, feel free to ask the questions in the chat window or in your LinkedIn comments or YouTube comments. And feel free to follow AWS User Group Pune on LinkedIn, Meetup, Twitter, or YouTube. We are very active on LinkedIn, so you can ask your questions or queries related to the AWS services, AWS community, or any kind of AWS security activities that you are performing for your organization or for your product as well. Thank you. Thanks for joining. Don't forget to join community.aws, that is dedicated community site recently launched by the AWS. So you'll find many of the resources like articles and many of the links, useful links to learn new things from community. So make sure you are following that page as well. And thank you for joining. See you tomorrow for another exciting session from for related to the AWS Web Application Firewall and AWS Shield. Thank you and have a nice day. Thanks.
Thank you, everyone.